Alright, it's time to change an O2 sensor on a 2000 Dodge Dakota. Alright, this truck has the 4.7 liter overhead cam V8. And the first step is to crank the engine for a minute or two and let the exhaust get a little bit warm. Makes it easier to break loose the O2 sensor. Depending on the height of your truck, you may or may not want to jack it up. In my case, I should have plenty of room to slide through under here. But just a warning, if you do jack up your vehicle, make sure you use jack stands. Using just a jack is extremely dangerous. I've actually had one fail. So make sure to use jack stands. Before you begin, look at the O2 sensor, the new one that you have purchased. In my case, here it's a Denso. And check it out and look it over, see how it connects and disconnects. Just makes it a heck of a lot easier to use or remove the other one. Also, it should come here to some kind of a anti-seize compound. We're going to make sure to put those on the threads there to make it easier for future removals. You need to make sure you have the right tools. In our case, we are going to use a crescent wrench. Be careful getting under your vehicle because your exhaust pipe will probably still be hot from that minute or two run. But as you can see here, there's the catalytic converter. You want to make sure you go to the O2 sensor that is in front. There's one behind the catalytic converter, can't see it from here. But this, the pre-cat, will be the main O2 sensor that affects the engine and your miles per gallon. It's hard to see, but their connection is just up there out of the shadow. It's always good to try and remove your cable connection first. It can be a little tricky, and but it will come apart. You can see there's this little flange here. Lifts up and it pulls apart. It's a good idea to do it first and then work on the actual O2 sensor here. Alright, well, I loosened my O2 sensor, my wrench, a little while ago. Let's see if I can spin it in my hand. There it goes. Shouldn't be too difficult once you break it loose. And just be gentle as you're pulling out, and make sure your threads aren't crossed. It's always good to compare the O2 sensor that is coming out with the one you're planning on putting in, and make sure the threads line up and they're roughly about the same size. You can see here. Fortunately, this was a stock O2 sensor that was still in the vehicle. And it's a Denso. That's the same brand I'm putting in, so hopefully everything will work correctly. Double check the wires here. It's a 4-prong with the little flip thing. Let's see, 4-prong with the little flip there. Alright, after your inspection here, it's good to apply a little anti-seize here here on the threads. Make sure not to get it up here. That will cause your O2 sensor to go bad very quickly. So make sure you just get it on the threads. Don't forget this. This will make it a lot easier if you ever have to replace it in the future. When you're putting your new O2 sensor in, make sure you put it in by hand very carefully. Just throwing caution that you do not cross the threads, because if you cross the threads, that can be an extreme problem. So just be extra cautious. See, went in there very quick, easily. Now you just have to maneuver this wire, flip it around several times as you twist this in, and then connect it up there to the appropriate connector. Once you get your new O2 sensor screwed in and your wires reconnected, just make sure that the cable you have going up there is not touching anything hot or anything that could be moving. Otherwise, defeat the whole purpose of changing it. Anyway, I hope this helps with you changing the O2 sensor on your 2000 Dodge Dakota.